Tonight, the coach of the Washington Diplomats. Gordon, we're heading into the playoffs. You've been around the league a number of years. Do you think this year is going to be tougher than everybody, or is New York going to dominate?
I think, Simon, it's got to be tougher. The league's getting better as the years go on, and you and I have been in it since 1967. And, of course, since that time, the league has improved tremendously. The Cosmos at this time certainly have got the strongest team, with the addition of Neeskens, to my reckoning, one of the better midfield players in the world. I think they're going to be favourites to win it. But other teams that I think have got to go on with a chance are certainly Minnesota, of course Tampa, and possibly Fort Lauderdale. Vancouver must be in it with a chance. I'd like to think that we are as well.
Well, assuming that you're going to be in the final, who do you think will be there with you?
Well, New York cannot, because we're in the same conference, so we'll have to go for possibly Tampa.
Okay. Seattle. Seattle haven't beaten you, and tonight it's obviously a lot tougher for them than it is for you because you're secured a position. What can you expect? Is your strategy going to be different because it's a do-or-die match for them?
Well, it is, and I'm sure they're going to be bringing the game to us, Simon. They're going to be attacking, and they have to, because if they lose this one tonight, it could be suicidal for them. So we're prepared to play maybe a defensive game and maybe come out on counter-attacks to win it. But it is a do-or-die game for Seattle. They're going to be up for the game. I know they are. It's going to be a tough game, an enjoyable game, and hopefully an entertaining one for the fans.
Your players are up for it?
We're up for it, yes.
Okay. Good luck tonight.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thanks.
Okay, Steve, back up to you.
The referee tonight, in the middle there, is David Syme. He's the fellow with the tan. And on the left, John Morris of Vancouver. On the right, Neil Ellett, they're the linesman. He's also from Vancouver. And the alternate is Terry Sean. Sounders in their home whites tonight, moving from right to left. And the Diplomats in the first half, moving from left to right in their visiting red uniforms. The starting lineups, first for the Diplomats. In goal, Bill Irwin. On the back line, it will be Tommy O'Hara, Don Draghi, Jim Steele, and Bob Irushi. They'll run four at midfield with Ken Mokajoa, Bobby Stokes, Rene Brevoort, and number 17, Sonny Aston. And up front, 28, Alan Green, and number 9, Paul Cannell. And for the Seattle Sounders in goal, Mike Ivanhoe, Adrian Webster, Ron Davies, Ian Bridge, and John Impey on the back line. At midfield, Nicky Cave, number 12, number 15, Steve Buttle, and number 19, Frank Barton. And up front, Derek Smethurst, number 10, Alan Hudson, number 4, and Jimmy Neighbor back in the lineup, number 8. Seattle on a move. Here's Jimmy Neighbor crossing midfield, or crossing the 35-yard line. He sidesteps one man into the attacking zone, winds up for a shot, and Irwin takes it on one hop. Some scores tonight. Atlanta 2, Houston 1. Philadelphia, again, the big win over the Toronto Blizzard 4-1.
And I think Edmonton stole that game from Dallas, so Dallas goes home without any points up there. And you know, we mentioned one time, Steve, that Philadelphia could sneak in that American Conference into the 8th playoff spot. Got an excellent coach, a Yugoslavian coach who believes in a patient, creative kind of build-up, very organized. And they've got some good scoring personnel in David Robb. So they've got some people that could sneak in there and nose New England out if New England has a tough time down the stretch.
Hudson backheeling it now for Steve Buttle. Got Mickey Cave wide open in the middle, but they come to the defender, John Impey. Now Cave chipping it into the box for Impey. Impey trying to cross one in front. Here's Hudson, and it's knocked off the line by Mokajoa. Great play by number 15, Ken Mokajoa, as they had Irwin off the line.
I'll tell you, that's one of the most exciting build-ups we've seen. This one-touch give and go is going to work very effectively against that packed defense. And here you see John Impey get it over top. Alan Hudson's got it already, except for Mokajoa. And that's where, when the goalkeeper's been beaten like he was, you've got to have the defender check back on the line and pull off one of those very courageous saves. So between the lip and the foot, there's a save there for Mr. Mokajoa, and Mr. Irwin owes him one now, so if he makes a mistake during the game, Uncle Billy's got to come through and save him. We hope not.
Now here comes Cave, quickly putting it off to Smethurst, who one-touches it to the wing to Neighbor. Neighbor across the 35. Cave goes far post. It's Smethurst in the middle. Neighbor is tripped up, but there's no call as O'Hara gets to the ball first. Now here's Barton. Barton rifles a shot, and it's just over the top. As he saw Irwin start to sneak out, in case one of the Washington Diplomats would put the ball back to him, and so he came off his line just about a yard or two, and Barton saw that, saw the goalkeeper standing, and took that rocket shot.
Boy, if that Irwin doesn't look like Craig Weckerser up there at the Everett Herald, I can't believe it. There's at least one or two people out there in TV land thinking of our friend Sam Koza, who wrote in, talked to us about the broadcast, and we thank Sam, who's now made the chairman of the Seattle chapter, KCTS broadcast. Sam says he really likes the broadcast, and we appreciate your cards and letters, Sam.
Hiroshi into Mokajoa, who tried to chest trap it and perhaps play it over his shoulder to Green, but he lost ground on that one, and it comes out to Seattle. Neighbor flying in it near the 35. Now he serves a ball up to Barton. Seattle on the move quickly. Barton centering one in front. Looks for Smethurst. It comes out now to Hudson. It is played by Brevoort. Now to Buttle. Buttle in against, let's see, Draghi. Now takes it around him. Buttle in front. Far side. Cave shoots right on as it's deflected away by Irwin. And Cave wanted it, or Impey wanted Cave to play it back towards Impey in the middle on the far post.
Well, boy, old Mickey Cave's got to feel snake bit, because this is the second time in as many games that he's had one right in the back of the net, and a keeper came out and robbed him, and there we watch Bill Irwin come out again as he comes out and grabs a ball at least 8 feet in the air with his big height and that flowing mane, and it might be that Seattle's going to have to go in the halftime, figure out what to do with goalkeepers.
Mokajoa starts in. He gets around one man, now off to Askew. Askew a shot, it's blocked. Now it's Mokajoa for the rebound, but Bridge gets a foot to it, and now Buttle has it as it deflected off of Ivanhoe. A hard shot by Sonny Askew. There's Neighbor at the 35. We'll see it again.
We'll see a nice penetration here. A little bit of a mix-up on defense. Askew takes a howitzer, could have got through. And Mokajoa comes back. He's going to finish it off, but for young Ian Bridge, who valiantly went for the ball from the carpet, and he got it back to Stevie Buttle and out of trouble.
Cannell chipping it off for Green. Green starts in against Bridge. He's got to get some support. Green sending it off to Mokajoa, but there's Adrian Webster on the deflection. And now out to Neighbor. Neighbor trying to sidestep Hiroshi, does so, and now evades Mokajoa. Now slants towards the middle of the field and explodes across the midfield stripe. On the outside of the foot to Hudson. Neighbor goes down now into the penalty area as Hudson brings it out to the 35, chipping it back to Neighbor. A wall pass for Hudson, but Askew gets in the way. Hudson kicks Askew in the chin, it looks like, or in the shin, and Askew is down. Actually, it looks like he might. Where did he get hit? They're looking at his left knee, it looks like.
Well, I think he got it in the Adam's apple. That's a heck of a long way from his knee.
Gee, we went all over the anatomy for that one.
Now, this wasn't an intentional foul at all. Alan Hudson's a battler. He's going to protect himself, as we see there in the replay. When Askew came up to block the ball, Huddy was in full stride. He couldn't do anything else but try to put out his hand and protect himself. And there we see him shaking hands. He was telling David Syme, he said, "Hey, I'm not out here to do injury to the lad," which of course is a word for boy or man, but the English brought it over, so we'll use it.
Alan Green jockeying for a position against Bridge. Now Buttle gives him help. Buttle misses. Green chipping it for Cannell. There's Impey. Impey quickly plays it back to Ivanhoe as Cannell came moving in. Barton, now Neighbor. He eludes two men towards midfield. Now a third man in Stokes. Neighbor playing it on the instep to Buttle. He's able to get the defenders backpedaling and then really can do just about what he wants to with them.
Well, and he just spins his web around those defenders, or even the midfielders and the rest of them.
He tried to loft this one.
Good point. Good point. For give a B+ to Frank Barton on that, because Irwin's got a tendency to begin to come out as the attack develops into the box, and Frank knows that. He's figured that out right away, and he's looking for that little space in behind. He chipped one over top.
Under 2 minutes to play in the first half, no score. Irwin controlling in his own box. And at this pace, we will not see a 3-2 match tonight. At this pace. Davies to Neighbor, trying to backheel it. The ricochet to Barton, now up to Neighbor. Neighbor races up the right side. Stokes gives chase. He comes into the attacking zone. Neighbor looking in front, and there is Steele to head it away. Askew, now Buttle moving in. Buttle running the larger Askew off the ball. Buttle chipping at Cave, far side. Irushi is there. Now Barton moves in to get the rebound off Irushi. Barton playing it to Smethurst. Smethurst on the outside to Cave, moving in. Cave trying to rifle it in front. Smethurst shot just wide. It's deflected by Irwin.
Well, I think Stevie Buttle got a crack at that off of Derek Shin when Mickey Cave laid the howitzer through there. And it all goes back to that old battling principle again. There's Mickey's shot in there, and Stevie and Derek must have combined to get a crack at that. And now we got a little bit of difficulty over in the corner where we've got Frank Barton wondering what space is his. Oh yes, there it is. That's a frequent occurrence. The corner flag lost its balance. Couldn't stand the weight of Frank Barton, and here's the in-swinger.
Barton looking in, and it's Steele to head it away. Oh, but Seattle has had a couple of headers. They had Buttle's play there. Now Seattle has to come onside. They haven't been offside yet. Buttle moving into the attacking zone, far post, looking for Impey. He locks arm with O'Hare, and finally it's cleared away with a half a minute to go. It goes into touch. Seattle putting a little bit of pressure on here in the last 2 minutes. Cave on the far side to throw this one in with 17 seconds. Now looks for Bridge, but it's cleared away, or getting a foot in with Stokes with 12 seconds to go. Stokes circling back against Bridge, tried to play it between his ankles. Now with 5 seconds, Cave has to get this one in. Cave for Impey. Impey trying to put it on for Buttle. Buttle playing it over his shoulder for Bridge, and it's O'Hare picking it off. And that is the end of the first half of play between Washington and Seattle. Seattle closing the last 2 minutes with pressure, and a shot on a deflection by Steve Buttle. That was blocked again by Bill Irwin, who picks up where Alex Stepney left off on Saturday night. And the halftime score, Seattle nothing, Washington nothing.
Yeah, we've seen a rash of goalkeeping here in the last couple of games, Steve, and Seattle's going to have to find the back of the net. One of the ways they do that is by serving the ball to both the near and the far post, which is a very dangerously served ball and fits very well with what's been attempted by Seattle here in the first half. And our halftime tip for tonight's game by Bobby Howe, Jeff Stock, and young Mark Peterson is on attacking the goal with the ball at near and far post. So down to the field with Bobby Howe and the young Sounders for our tip of the game.
Today's soccer tip deals with attacking the ball at near post. In games, we try to play the ball from wing positions into a near post area or into an area outside the furthest post away from the goalkeeper, because we feel that these are two vulnerable areas for an opposing defense, and also areas which our opposing goalkeeper cannot deal with the ball very comfortably. So let's see what happens now when Jeff attacks the ball at near post, and I'll defend him on this particular play. In that situation there, I was able to see Jeff, because he's made a run from there and straight on to the post. I'm able to see him and the ball at the same time, so that when the ball is played in, I'm able to clear it very easily. Now let's see what happens when Jeff makes an angled run from an area round about the far post here. That's an excellent ball in there from Mark Peterson, and Jeff made a well-timed run into near post, although he didn't score in that particular instance. But it was very difficult for me to be able to defend Jeff on that play, because I cannot see him and the ball at the same time. So let's go over one or two of those points again. When attacking the ball at near post, don't run straight in towards the post, because your opponent is able to see you and the ball at the same time. And secondly, you're running across the line of the flight of the ball, and that makes your header or your shot very difficult. But if you make an angled run from behind your opponent, he cannot see you and the ball at the same time. And secondly, you're in the line of the flight of the ball.
First half statistics in this 0-0 match. Seattle with 10 shots to the Diplomats 6. Washington had 9 fouls, Seattle 7. Corner kick, Seattle had the edge there, 5-3. Neither team was offside. There were no cautions. Now here's a play in front to Green. Green backheeling it. Barton playing it on to Ivano. Still no score. Steve Thone along with Cliff McGrath and Simon Osler from the Kingdome. And we also would like to say hello to all the folks watching on KWSU in Pullman and KYVE in Yakima. If you have any cards and letters to send along, you folks in Pullman or Yakima or even here in Seattle or up in Vancouver, KCTS 9 Sports, 4045 Brooklyn Avenue Northeast, Seattle, Washington 98105. That's the address, and we'd love to hear from you. But maybe this is an omen of things to come, as Seattle, the Mariners, have finally defeated Baltimore at Memorial Stadium, Seattle winning 5-4, and hopefully both Seattle teams can bring home the trophy tonight.
Well, at least one of them has, and everybody in press row down below, Steve, at halftime, we're talking about the goalkeeping. Billy Irwin, of course, the best in the conference right now, giving us all kinds of fits here in Seattle, coming off the line, gathering in the crosses, stopping a couple of point-blank shots. Another amazing header by Mickey Cave. Mickey's got to be talking to himself, because he's doing everything he's done in other years when he's led the Sounders in scoring, and yet he's coming up with the luck of the draw against him, as we've seen some outstanding goalkeeping here in the last couple of matches.
And we should note again that Washington came in here tonight with playing defensively. That's what they had on their mind. So if they should happen to put one in, they may just go into a shell. And they have the defense to do it.
Well, they've been in a shell, really, most of the game. They haven't shown that much interest in attacking, and the statistics bear it out a little bit. But the big problem here, of course, is that Seattle is... we saw a good shot there that could have been trouble. But Seattle was finding very good penetration opportunities there in the first few minutes, and we'll even take a look at the replay here as Mokajoa comes in and takes a left-footed spinning kick that could have been trouble, particularly if it had been played in a hurricane. Speaking of hurricanes, they lost tonight in Atlanta. Another one of those 2-1 victories for Atlanta that continues to amaze us.
Buttle sending it back to Impey. Now one touch back to Buttle. Buttle trying to get around Stokes. It's Neighbor. Playing it off to Barton. Barton serves it up to Webster. Webster chips it high and nowhere in particular. And it is Drakey. Drakey miskicks it though. And we have one player, new player in, Ani Mihailovic, number 26 for Washington, coming in for Steele. Jim Steele, number 8. Barton now at his own 35. Chipping it for Ian Bridge. And Bridge for Jimmy Neighbor. Neighbor looking for Hudson to the outside, gets it to him at the 35. He starts in, it's O'Hara on his heels. Hudson now getting it off to Neighbor. Neighbor sidesteps one man, playing it back in the middle for Barton, who winds up. It's Smethurst, but they're offside. Cave and Smethurst offside as Barton sent that one in. And they would have been looking for a ricochet. It was a shot by Barton.
Good hustling for the ball by Jimmy Neighbor, and another one of those one-touch shots, but we can see there on the screen that Mickey looked like he was fairly good depth there offside, but again, we'll let the fans who saw it be the best judge.
Still no score in the match. Seattle needing to win this one, and Washington has defeated Seattle 4 times out of 4.
I'd say that's kind of a nemesis.
Yeah. Here's the corner being taken by Askew. Ivanhoe, Cannell around the ball. A shot. Webster has to play it off the line. As Ivanhoe came out, and I think it was Cannell who got it, but I'm not sure who put the head to it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Steve, that's a perfect clinic for why defenders must hold that line. And here we see Askew's outswinger coming across, and that
was Draghi.
Yeah, it was Draghi, the old American college player. Too bad those guys can't play soccer. And he put one in the net, but for Adrian Webster. Seattle can't afford to get the least bit complacent back there, Steve, because Washington's the kind of team that can lull you a little bit. They don't seem to come at you with any kind of a wide-open, vicious attack like they might have done in Washington. They just kind of wait.
Oh, Neighbor takes it through Stokes' ankles, comes into the attacking zone, a rocket shot, and Irwin makes the save. Jimmy Neighbor getting around 2 Washington Diplomats.
Now here you go, under the bridge. He just tapped it through his legs very coolly, pushes it again, gets by and into the box, and from about 8 yards out takes a howitzer at Irwin. And again, I don't think Irwin quite saw it. He just kind of hunched his shoulders and put his arms out The ball hit him, and he continues to be the impregnable rock there.
Looking far post. Here comes Barton in for a shot, and it's blocked by Washington as the ball got loose. It's Impey at the 35. Now sending it off to Neighbor. Neighbor looking for Smethurst. He comes through, a shot, hits the post. Now Bridge trying to win it. A beautiful centering pass by Neighbor to Smethurst. Oh my, Seattle just cannot put one in the back of the net. It's Buttle to Neighbor on the wing. Trying to move around. Stopes another cross. Here Ruschi to knock it away. Now Brevoort ahead for Cannell on the right wing. Sending it back for Mihailovic. And maybe we'll get another shot at the one that hit the crossbar by Derek Smethurst. Here comes Irushi to Mihailovic at the 35. Nobody on him now. Sending it in front for Askew. Askew sending it back in the middle. There's Green. A shot. It's blocked by Impey. Now it's Webster moving into the attack. Mihailovic sending it back. And Washington maintains possession. In the Mokajoa. Around Impey. He starts in. Sending it off to Askew. Tries to cross it in front. There's Davies in the passing lane. Now Impey to Buttle. Buttle sending it out to Barton. And Seattle has broken up that rush by Washington.